Ooh, that's a nice one.
My name is Zachary McNaughton, and I am not a professional angler. I've been fishing for over 20 years, and the one thing that these years have taught me most is that I have a lot to learn. So let's meet some of Vermont's true master anglers, and together we'll discover some fishing techniques and explore the many species that this great state has to offer. Today we're out here on Lake Champlain, and we've launched out of Larrabees Point, and basically we're on the hunt for crappie. Today we found a nice mix of white crappie and black crappie, and so the primary thing is we're using electronics today, combination of either side scan and LiveScope. So if you don't have LiveScope, what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself in about 13 feet of water, and with side imaging you just cruise along and you look for logs, preferably standing timber, so any type of stick sticking up in the air, maybe a couple of sticks sticking up like that, straight up into the water, vertical timber. And so when you find that, you can scroll over, set a waypoint on it, and then turn around and go back to your waypoint and fish it. I mean, you can find these without side imaging, but your life's going to be a lot easier with at least side imaging. We're using LiveScope today, which made it really easy to get within 50, 60 feet of any standing timber, and we would know right away whether or not there were fish on it. And pretty much if there were fish on the wood, we were catching them today. The techniques, we'll pull up to the wood after we've located it. We try to anchor right on top of it, and basically Fisher was dropping to the bottom, and then he would slowly reel his jig upward, and they would bite chasing up. That was very productive today. What I was doing for quite a bit of the time was more of a vertical jig, like ice fishing. So I would drop my jig down, get it in the middle of the school, and I would just shake it and then hold still.
Is that a nice one?
No. Oh, yep, I guess it is. And literally just tiny shakes and hold very still, dead stick it in place, and you would feel them just thump it, and you set the hook immediately and reel them in. Probably what we had was a little overkill. We're using medium bass rods, 8-pound test braid.
Oh, that guy smoked it.
We started the day with fluorocarbon leaders, but we broke so many lures off that in the end we just started tying straight to braid. And the water's muddy enough out here that the leader doesn't really matter. We probably caught 100 fish without a leader today, so just something to keep in mind. We weren't keeping fish today, we were strictly catch and release. So, but had we been keeping, we caught several in the 13, 14-inch class today. Unfortunately, we didn't find any of those 15-inchers, which we've been finding this past week. But we beat up this area of the lake pretty hard the last few days, so before filming, so it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. This is a Sebile Vibrato, now owned by Berkeley. The Berkeley Vibrato, probably the half-ounce model. This is one of my favorite crappie lures. You don't have to work it much at all. It's blade bait, but you don't even have to rip it much like a blade, just tiny snaps, and they love it, especially in the muddy water. The other lure that worked really well today was the Sebile Vibrato. Broke off a couple in the timber and decided I'd spent my allowance of expensive lures. We probably broke off 10 jigs today. When you're fishing in brush and wood, it's just going to happen, so you need to be prepared for it. We weren't using our more expensive jigs. We were using just the cheap little jigs that we have. And for lure bodies, we have these little Z-Man crappie lures that have a little ball on the end of the lure. We ran out of those, so the crappie really didn't want a lot of movement today. So I was throwing a paddle tail. They'd hit it now and then, but it just wasn't working as well as what Fisher was doing. So I started putting on curly tail grubs and then cutting off the curly tail. So basically, it was a super finesse bait, kind of like an ice fishing carrot bait. And that seemed to work really, really, really well. So sometimes you got to improvise, play around with things, see how it's going. But definitely probably Fisher's technique that he figured out of the just dropping down in the school and then reeling up slowly from the bottom. That was probably the most productive technique we had today. I'll get the net.
Oh!
Never know what you're gonna get crappie fish in.
Jesus, this thing's heavy!
Being 10 to 20 feet, find brush. You can just go down the lake. When we do it with LiveScope, essentially set the trolling motor on power 6, and I have my LiveScope mounted to the trolling motor, so with my foot I just scan side to side while I'm going down the lake. And you just scan, and when you see something that looks like timber on the bottom, then we'd pull up to it and we'd know right away if there were any fish on it. There we go, so there's the tree right there we just found. And then we'd beat up each brush pile pretty well. Then when the bite would slow down, we'd pick up and move along and go find another brush pile. Another wee baby. Not one that I would bother filleting if we were keeping them today or catch and release, but still. There you go. And as long as you give piles like an hour, 2 hours, you can come back around to them. So if you find 4 or 5 in a small area, you can just sort of circle back and forth. So I'll give you one spot away. We launched at Larrabees Point, which is right behind us. If you look at the Navionics map off of Larrabees Point, they're underwater pilings. They go all the way across the lake to the lighthouse point on the other side. So from Larrabees Point over to the New York side, the lighthouse point across from it, there are pilings that are about every 20-30 feet. They're marked on Navionics with little dotted line circles. So find those. You can use your whatever electronics you have. If you don't have side imaging, use the map, get as close to it as you can, and then just look at whatever electronics you do have to confirm that you're right over the top of them. And you want to really be fishing right in the sticks. The crappie, they aren't out roaming a ton. They're really, really, really packed in like leaves on a tree. Okay, there's my lure going down.
There's a crab.
That's for sure. Pulling up a crappie.
This is
That
big.
seems like a honky donkey. Get him in the boat. So you want to get right in there, right into the snags, which is why we broke so many lures off today. But you're catching fish, so you know, these are great eating fish too. We aren't eating any because it's a school night and didn't want to deal with all the filleting. Sometimes you just need tools for this stuff. There we go. That's not a bad one right there. You know, if you're out there looking for a good meal, there are plenty 13, 14-inch crappies today. We also caught a few little white perch. Fisher's got one on right now.
Oh, it's a perch.
But yeah, that's the basic technique. White crappie are pretty much only found in Lake Champlain. Black crappie you can find all over the place. Black crappie in non-Lake Champlain places, they relate to all kinds of different structures. So you want to ask around, figure out what works best on the lake you're on. But Champlain, what's great about Champlain is you just cruise around in 13 foot and you find a tree, it's going to have crappie on it. So really productive technique. Took us a while to figure it out. You know, people kind of guard crappie like, you know, super secret. But you saw on LiveScope, there's hundreds and hundreds of fish in each of these little brush piles we pulled up onto. Well, that one's not too shabby. So, you know, the only people really abusing that are the commercial fishing guys, and the rules just changed on that, which will make life a little better. I feel pretty safe telling people about it.
Oh, yeah, this is a good sign. They're all big ends.
There you go. That's not a bad one right there. Especially, you know, Larrabees Point. Just go right up. I mean, we are 50 yards from shore right now on a big brush pile, and Fisher's caught 3 or 4 fish just in the amount of time that I've been talking here. So get out. It's definitely a fun thing to take the kids out to do, and we'll see you next time on the water. Thanks for watching this episode of Vermont Master Anglers. For more content, visit our Facebook page at Vermont Master Anglers. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe.